Right now, as you are watching this, a dangerous weather pattern is forming across Australia that could ruin your entire Sunday, and most people have absolutely no idea it is coming. 45-degree heat in the Outback, 172 millimetres of rain hammering Brisbane, humidity so brutal in Darwin that it feels like breathing through a wet towel. And here is the thing that nobody's talking about. One city in Australia is about to have the most perfect summer day you could ever dream of. I will reveal exactly which city that is at the 5-minute mark, and trust me, you will want to stick around for that. But first, if you live anywhere in Australia, drop a comment right now telling me your city. I will make sure you get the most accurate forecast for your exact area. Do it now before you forget. Let me tell you what is at stake here. Sunday, the 8th of February, 2026 is not just another summer day. This is the day where Australia-S weather splits into two completely different worlds. One half of the country is about to get absolutely drenched. The other half is going to bake under relentless sun. And the line between those two worlds might run right through your backyard. Here is your first shocking number. Australia covers 7.7 million square kilometres. That is roughly the same size as mainland Europe. And on this single Sunday, temperatures across this country will swing by more than 30 degrees depending on where you are standing. 30 degrees. That is the difference between needing a jacket and needing an ambulance from heat exhaustion. Now, I have broken this forecast down city by city, and I promise you the best part of this entire video comes at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, where I reveal the one weather event that could catch thousands of Australians completely off guard. Do not skip ahead though, because every city has a twist you are not expecting. Let us start where most Australians live. Sydney is looking at a top of around 25 degrees with an overnight low of about 21. Now, you might hear that and think, beauty, perfect beach day. But here is the twist. February is one of Sydney's wettest months. 86.2 millimetres of rain spread across roughly 23 rain days. That means on almost any given day, including this Sunday, a shower can pop up out of nowhere, especially late in the afternoon. Here is what most people get wrong about Sydney-esque summer storms. They check the morning sky, see blue, and leave the umbrella at home. Then by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, the sky cracks open and they are running for cover at Bondi with nowhere to hide. My advice, plan your outdoor activities for the morning when the weather is more settled. Have a backup plan for the afternoon. And whatever you do, do not ignore the ultraviolet index. It is still absolutely cranking in February. Sunscreen is not optional in Sydney. It is survival gear. Now, here is something that will surprise you. While the coast sits at a comfortable 25 degrees, drive just 2 hours inland into Western New South Wales and you are suddenly staring down 32 to 35 degrees. The temperature difference between the coast and the inland is like stepping into a completely different country. Now let us fly down to Melbourne. And if you have ever lived in Melbourne, you already know what I am about to say. 4 seasons in one day. Even in the middle of summer, Melbourne can throw you a curveball that makes you question every outfit choice you have made since breakfast. The forecast has Melbourne sitting at a top of around 24 degrees with a low of about 18. A gentle southerly breeze at around 20 kilometres per hour will bring cool air off the bay. This is honestly a ripper of a summer day for Melbourne. Not too hot, not too cool, absolutely perfect for a stroll along the Yarra or a flat white at one of those brilliant laneway cafes. But do not let that fool you. Melbourne in February can still dish up anywhere from 3 to 8 rainy days. The chance of rain on the 8th sits at 54%. That is basically a coin flip. So chuck a compact umbrella in your bag and thank me later. Here is a number that might surprise the swimmers out there. Sea temperatures in Melbourne peak in February at about 18.8 degrees. That is as warm as Port Phillip Bay gets all year. Still cold enough to make you catch your breath when you wade in, but the warmest you are going to get. Nearby Geelong will experience similar conditions, but here is the twist. February is actually Geelong's wettest month with about 10.1 rain days. If you are heading down that way, be prepared. Right now we head back up north to Brisbane, and this is where things get seriously interesting. Do not miss this next part. Brisbane, the capital of the Sunshine State. But here is the irony that most people outside Queensland do not realise. February in Brisbane is actually the wettest month of the entire year. Let that sink in. The Sunshine State's capital gets more rain in February than almost any other time. The forecast shows a top of around 28 degrees with a low of 22. Hot, muggy, and absolutely loaded with moisture. But the real headline is this. More than 20 rain days in February, average total rainfall of 172.3 millimetres. That is a staggering amount of water. Here is how Brisbane storms work, and this is critical if you are driving. Tropical thunderstorms roll in almost like clockwork in the afternoon. Dramatic lightning displays, absolutely bucketing rain for a short burst, then the sun pops back out like nothing happened. But in those 30 to 60 minutes of downpour, low-lying areas, underpasses and roads along the Brisbane River can flood dangerously fast. Every Queenslander knows this rule by heart. If it is flooded, forget it. Do not drive through floodwater, not ever, not even if it looks shallow. People lose their lives every single wet season ignoring that rule. The Gold Coast, just south of Brisbane, is also in its wettest month with about 11.4 rain days. But here is the silver lining. Sea temperatures on the Gold Coast hit 27.2 degrees in February. Absolutely perfect for surfing and swimming between the storms. Now we push further north to Cairns, and this is the 3-minute 20 mark I promised you. Here is the weather event that could catch thousands of people off guard. Cairns in February receives an average of 322 millimetres of rain. That is nearly double what Brisbane gets. Nearly double. And the humidity regularly sits above 75 to 78%. You step outside and you are drenched in sweat within 30 seconds flat. But here is what most tourists visiting the Great Barrier Reef do not know. After those massive tropical downpours, the ocean gets choppy and underwater visibility drops dramatically as rainwater washes sediment out to sea. If you have booked a reef tour for this Sunday, check conditions before you go. The difference between going on the right day and the wrong day is the difference between the experience of a lifetime and a miserable, seasick waste of money. The inland areas of Western Queensland are even worse. Temperatures potentially exceeding 38 to 40 degrees in the desert zones. The heat up there is no joke. Now remember, I promised to reveal which city is about to have the most perfect summer day in all of Australia. Here it is, and honestly, it might not be the city you expected, Perth. Perth on Sunday the 8th of February is shaping up to be an absolute perler. And here is the number that will blow your mind. February in Perth is the driest month of the entire year. The city averages just 2.1 rain days for the whole month. Total rainfall of only 9 millimetres, 9. While Brisbane is drowning in 172 millimetres, Perth gets 9. That is almost 20 times less rain. Temperatures will climb from about 19 to 20 degrees in the early morning to around 31 to 35 degrees by midday. Clear skies, blazing sunshine, and then the best part, that famous sea breeze the locals call the Fremantle Doctor sweeps in during the afternoon, delivering sweet relief from the midday heat. When the Freo Doctor rolls in on a scorching Perth afternoon, there is genuinely no better feeling. It is an absolute cracker of a day for Cottesloe Beach, Kings Park, or a ferry ride to Rottnest Island for a selfie with the quokkas. But here is the serious catch. The ultraviolet index in Perth during February regularly hits 11 plus. That is extreme. SPF 50 plus sunscreen is non-negotiable. A wide-brimmed hat is essential. Finding shade around the middle of the day is not being soft. It is being smart. The inland areas of Western Australia, particularly the Pilbara and Kimberley regions up north, will be significantly hotter, potentially surging past 40 degrees with big thunderstorms and flooding risk. Now let us move to Adelaide. South Australia's laid-back capital sits between rolling hills and sprawling vineyards, and the forecast here has a fascinating twist. Adelaide is expected to see highs of 28 to 32 degrees. But here is the thing that makes Adelaide's weather so unpredictable. It all depends on which direction the wind blows. If it comes from the north, bringing air from the desert interior, temperatures can spike dramatically, sometimes blasting past 40 degrees. But if the wind swings south or southwest, carrying cool marine air, things become noticeably more pleasant. You could literally experience a 15-degree temperature swing in Adelaide, depending on the wind, all on the same day. Sea temperatures peak at about 20 degrees. Not tropical, but warm enough for a decent swim at Glenelg without too much complaining. Rainfall is quite low, making it a solid day for exploring the Barossa Valley or McLaren Vale wine regions. Right, now we head to the top of Australia, Darwin. And if you thought Brisbane was humid, you have not experienced anything yet. One word sums up Darwin on Sunday the 8th of February. Suffocating. Average relative humidity of 78%. Daytime temperatures hitting 32 to 34 degrees. Overnight lows that refuse to drop below 25 to 26 degrees. It is the kind of heat that hits you like a wall the moment you step outside. Here is how Darwin's wet season works, and it follows a pattern like clockwork. Massive clouds start building around midday, towering high into the sky like enormous white anvils. Then between about 3 and 5 in the afternoon, they crack open with spectacular lightning and absolutely torrential rain. A single Darwin thunderstorm can dump 50 to 100 millimetres of rain in just a couple of hours. That is more than some southern cities see in an entire month. From a single storm, morning is your best window if you are in Darwin. It is often clear or partly cloudy, perfect for the waterfront precinct or Mindil Beach. But come afternoon, forget about staying dry. And one critical safety warning. The wet season in Darwin is peak season for box jellyfish and saltwater crocodile activity. Do not swim at natural beaches or in rivers and creeks unless there are clear safety signs. The public pools and the swimming lagoon at the waterfront are your safest bet. Now, flying all the way to the bottom of the country, we land in Hobart, Tasmania. And this is where Australia-S weather does a complete 180. Tasmania sits at roughly 42 degrees south latitude. It is Australia-S coldest state. Temperatures in Hobart on the 8th will range from 12 to 13 degrees in the early morning, rising to a pleasant 21 to 24 degrees during the middle of the day. For a lot of people, that is absolutely perfect. Warm enough for a t-shirt, but sensible enough to bring a light jacket. Sea temperatures average just 16.5 degrees. You would need a fair bit of courage to dive into those waters. But here is the beautiful part. Sunrise comes at about 6:11 in the morning and sunset is not until 8:36 in the evening. That gives you over 14 hours of daylight, one of the great perks of a Tassie summer. Perfect for a walk up Mount Wellington or a cruise on the Derwent River. We cannot leave out the nation's capital, Canberra. Tucked away inland at about 580 metres above sea level, Canberra has a weather personality all its own. Here is what catches visitors off guard every single time. Daytime temperatures reaching 28 to 32 degrees, but overnight dropping right down to 13 to 16 degrees. That is a potential swing of 15 to 18 degrees within the same day. Pack for two completely different seasons if you are visiting Canberra this Sunday. Conditions should be good for checking out Parliament House, the Australian War Memorial and the National Library. Just drink plenty of water and avoid the direct sun around the middle of the day. Quickly dropping into Newcastle north of Sydney. February is Newcastle's wettest month with about 14.7 rain days. Temperatures range between 20 and 28 degrees with high humidity. The beaches at Nobby's and Bar Beach are stunning and the locals are well used to the February rhythm of shower, sunshine, shower again, and finally the vast Outback, the sunburnt heart of this continent. And this is no exaggeration. The Australian interior in February is the most unforgiving environment on the entire landmass. Central desert temperatures around Alice Springs and Uluru regularly smash through 35 to 40 degrees and can push to a brutal 45. Then a massive thunderstorm can dump tens of millimetres in just hours, turning dry creek beds into raging torrents. Desert flash flooding is extremely dangerous and it happens with almost no warning. If you are travelling through the Outback this Sunday, carry at least 5 to 10 litres of water per person per day. Have a satellite phone because mobile coverage does not exist in many areas. And always tell someone your itinerary. Now let me give you the rapid fire summary so you know exactly what your Sunday looks like. Sydney 25 degrees, watch for afternoon showers. Melbourne 24 degrees, gorgeous day but 50-50 chance of rain. Brisbane 28 degrees, heavy afternoon thunderstorms almost guaranteed. Cairns deep in the wet season, 322 millimetres average rain, extremely humid. Perth, the winter, sunny, dry, barely any rain all month, absolute dream conditions. Adelaide, 28 to 32 degrees. Watch the wind direction carefully. Darwin, 32 to 34 degrees, 78% humidity. Afternoon storms guaranteed. Hobart, 21 to 24 degrees, cool and pleasant with 14 hours of daylight. Canberra, big temperature swings, hot days, cool nights. The Outback, do not underestimate it, 40 plus degrees and flash flood risk. 3 golden rules for your Sunday wherever you are. First, slip, slop, slap. Sunscreen, hat, protective clothing, no exceptions. Second, stay hydrated, especially if you are outdoors. Third, keep checking the Bureau of Meteorology for the latest updates. Now, here is what I need you to do. Drop a comment below with your city, and I will give you a personalised forecast update. And if you found this useful, share it with someone you care about who might be caught off guard by Sunday's weather. In the next video, I am covering something that could change how you prepare for the rest of this summer. A major weather pattern is shifting across the southern hemisphere, and it could affect Australia for weeks. You do not want to miss that one.